is nutritionist Harpreet Pasricha, and welcome to Aditya Birla's Health Insurance Health from Home series. Now, COVID-19, we all know the way it is spreading. The whole scenario is changing on a daily basis, and numbers have been increasing. And CDC, that is your Center of Disease Control, has identified one of the group to be most vulnerable. Any guesses? Yes, it is the old age people, that is our senior citizens, people who are above 60 years of age. They are twice as likely to develop a serious COVID. That means that if they get this infection, the chances of the recovery probably would be lesser, or it would take more time. So one of the major reasons everybody is emphasizing is that the older age people, the senior citizens, people above 60 years of age, should not go out of the house at all, even to buy their essentials. So their essentials should be bought by either of their family members or their neighbors, or even government is trying the best to provide them at home. Now, when I'm talking to you with regards to the people who are above 60 years of age, what happens with them is their immunity is somewhere compromised. And why is it compromised? One of the major reasons is aging. So as we age, as we progress, what happens is our immune system sometimes starts getting compromised because of our age. Two is, if you notice in people above 60, they usually have some or the other underlying diseases. That could be diabetes, or it could be COPD, like lung disease. It could be anything to do with hypertension or cardiac or kidney. So they usually have an underlying disease, which makes it more difficult for them to recover, and also to more prone to any of the infections and any flus. So it is not just the coronavirus or this particular COVID-19. It could be any infections and flus, because their immunity is compromised. So somewhere they are more vulnerable. So what can we do? What I'm going to share in this series are certain tips. Now, when I'm saying about tips, I'm not just going to talk about only nutrition. I'm also going to talk about some extra tips. Reason being, as a nutritionist, I feel your health is basically four things. It is a holistic approach what we need to take care. So whether it is your physical health, social health, spiritual health, or mental health, if all these four are healthy, automatically it makes a person healthier. Then because a person is healthier, the immune system is better. Okay, so I will be discussing in the later part that what are the tips. For that you may need a notebook and a pen, so please arrange it. And if you have any questions, you may please pop in, and I will answer to those questions as well. Okay, now what is the key for a good health? Key for a good physical health is your right nutrition. Right nutrition means a balanced nutrition. Now, as per our the dietitians and nutritionists, when we talk about a balanced nutrition, it means that we should have good quantity or right quantity and right type of macronutrients, micronutrients, and also hydrate our system. So that is to build a good health. Now, to build good immunity, there are other things which I'm going to talk about as well. So macronutrients. Now you must be wondering what are macronutrients. Some of you may be knowing about it. So macronutrients means your carbohydrates, fats, proteins, they all come under a group of macronutrients. Now carbohydrate means a good carbohydrate. We just don't need any kind of carbohydrate. A good complex carbohydrate is one of the best thing for energy. So whether it is your wheat, rice, jawar, bajra, fruits, they all give us carbohydrates. Now protein. You must be knowing it comes from dals, that is your any kind of chana dal or moong dal, tur dal. Then is your dairy products like milk or paneer or dahi. Then we talk about nuts now, almond, walnut, cashew nut, peanuts. These are all good source of proteins. Okay, and then we talk about fat. Now fat means we need a restrictive quantity of fat, especially when we are aging. So people who are above 60, and during this time when the movement is very less, we don't need too heavy food, or we don't need too much of fried food. But yes, you also need a right kind of food, right quantity of fat, which is also very important. So where does the fat come from? The fat comes from the visible fat, invisible fat. Visible fat, which we see, that is your ghee, butter, makhan, tel, these all come under visible fat. We can see them. And invisible fat comes from your nuts and seeds. So whether I'm saying pumpkin seed, sunflower seed, walnut, they all are invisible source of your fats, which are also a good fat. So this is your group of carbohydrate, macronutrients, that is your carbohydrate, fat and protein. Now when we talk about micronutrients, these micronutrients, they basically are like they comprise of all the vitamins and minerals. So vitamins and minerals, you all know that they help in protecting our body, they keep our body disease free, they keep our skin, hair, immune system. So there is of each micronutrient, there are so many of micronutrients, whether it is vitamin A, vitamin C, E, vitamin K, selenium, chromium, zinc, biotin, they all come under micronutrients. So though the requirement in the body is very less of each of these micronutrients, your vitamins and minerals, but they play an important function in your body. Okay, and at this point, if you're not able to eat lot of vegetables or lot of fruits, because there is one, you're not probably stepping out of the house to buy them, and two, the availability is a little issue, you could also speak to your doctor, your medical practitioner, and take a suggestion if you would like to suggest any kind of vitamin and mineral supplements at this particular point. You may need these kind of supplements because vitamin C, as I told you, is good for your immunity, vitamin A for skin and for eyes. So we need all these vitamins and minerals at this point. Okay, so now as we were discussing, that is macronutrient, micronutrients, they are your major food groups. Then is your water. Hydration is also very, very important at this point. So you need to make sure that you're drinking enough water as well. So at least 15 glasses in a day. Yes, if anybody has a kidney issue or a lung issue, then they may have to restrict the quantity of water as well to maybe 10 or 12 glasses. Please speak to your doctor and figure out how much water and how many glasses or how many ml of water you need to drink. So this is the key. What I was talking was the nutrition, okay, which is helping us building a strong body. Now what about immunity? For immunity, we need a lot of foods. We need antibacterial, antiviral foods, antioxidants. So these, where do they come from? Okay, they come from our spices, our herbs. So spices means whatever spices we use at our place, whether it is rai, or jeera, dhania, green chili, or black pepper, cinnamon, nutmeg. They have the properties like a medicinal properties, and they can help building our immunity. So at this point, we have to make sure that we are also consuming this, which I'm sure most of you are doing, but you have to put in extra effort to probably do an additional use of these. Along with that, as I was mentioning to you, some herbs. So if you're getting any kind of microgreens or dhania, or if you can grow any of these things at home, one simple tip I would give is, if you have methi seeds, just sow them in small pot and you'll see small shoots coming out. And those are excellent microgreens which you can use, and you can add it in your food. So they all are going to give you your antiviral, antibacterial and antioxidant dose. Okay, now next what I'm going to talk about, which you may need a copy and a pen, I'm going to give you small tips which you may use on a regular basis, on a daily basis, and improve your body's health and immune system. So my first tip to you is that make sure you're doing a well cooked, that is soft food. Now, when we talk about soft food, it is somewhere semi-digested already. So for example, instead of eating like a rajma or chana, you might do a khichdi, which it is softer, it is easy to digest. At this point, you need a softer and easy digestible food, and not the kind of foods which can cause some kind of flatulence or gaseous. Now that would cause your discomfort, and then you would like to run to a doctor. We don't want you to enter into the hospitals at this point. So eat well cooked, soft cooked, easy digestible food. Now, when I'm talking about food, also I would want you to restrict your quantities. So at this point, because the movement is lesser, we are not able to walk as much, we're not going out for our regular exercises and all, which is also causing some kind of frustration in a lot of people. So you may need to restrict or reduce your food quantities. So maybe a smaller frequent meals, or reducing the 25%. Say for example, if you're doing 2 chapatis, instead of 2 chapatis, you do about 1.5. And secondly, be careful, you need to chew your food well, because once you're chewing your food, it helps in digestion. These are very small tips, but they can really help you in digesting your food well, and in all the discomfort which comes in with some foods, it may reduce all that. Third is completely avoid salads at this point. Okay, one, because they can have some kind of infections, they can cause some kind of indigestion, and two, it is difficult to digest. So whether it is any salad, cucumber and stuff, avoid it at this time. And along when we talk about fruits, say for example you have apple, or you have pear, or you have guava at home, make sure that you're removing the peel out of it, because that will also help. Okay. Now post your meals, that is after your breakfast, lunch, dinner, just try and get up and stay active for 2 to 3 minutes or 5 minutes if it is possible for you. Okay, so if you're not if a little active, just try and keep moving. Maybe count about 500 to 700 steps after each meal, and slightly just keep walking. And that's inside the house. That will also help in digesting your food. Now we have to use spices and herbs because one, it will help in building immunity. Two, it will also aid in digestion. So when I'm talking about haldi, okay, that is curcumin, or your cinnamon or nutmeg, they all help in building immunity. But spices like ajwain or jeera or dhania, that is your sukha dhania, the dry coriander seeds, they all help in digestion process as well. So use lot of these spices and herbs in your food what you're cooking. So whether it is kadi patta, rai, jeera, or sukha dhania, black pepper, cinnamon, haldi, try and use in most of your meals. And maybe if you want to increase a little bit of those quantities, if you're doing 5 kadi patta in a dal, maybe try about 10 or 15. So that all will help. These are very small tips, but they are really going to help you. Then I'm going to give you a recipe of a power soup. Okay, a lot of people are not having vegetables at home, so this soup can be done without a vegetable. So you take kala chana, the small brown chana which is wood color, not the Kabuli chana, and soak it overnight. And then you pressure cook it. Pressure cook it well. Now the water what you get, okay, is our power soup. Now this water you have to put in couple of tulsi leaves, a little bit of ajwain into it, and boil it for good another 3 to 4 minutes. Now this water, strain it off. If you want to add a little salt and black pepper, it's up to you. And drink this soup at least 3 to 4 times a week, and you'll see you'll feel better with this. It will give you a lot of energy. It has proteins into it, and it is also an anti-inflammatory. So it will really help you. So try this soup. If you want me to repeat, I can repeat it again. Take black chana, soak it overnight. Next day, nicely pressure cook it. The water what you get, you need to put couple of tulsi leaves and ajwain, that is your carom seeds, and then boil it for another 3-4 minutes. Strain it off and drink this water. Okay, this is like a soup which you need to drink 3 or 4 times a week. Then is your decoction. I want you to do one decoction. Most of you at this age know what kind of spices, what kind of herbs suit you. And if you're diabetic, I would want you to use a cinnamon stick and nutmeg in that decoction. And if you're not diabetic and you're just working, so depending on what is your problem. Say for example, you're diabetic, I would want you to take a glass of water, put some nutmeg into it, put some cinnamon, and boil it nicely and drink this at least once a day. Okay, all those who have lot of cough or phlegm which keeps coming in, or they get cold more frequently, what they can do is they can take ajwain and tulsi and ginger and boil that and drink this water around maybe after your meals, or after your maybe in the evening. So try and avoid these things early morning, empty stomach, because sometimes these spices and these herbs can give you acidic feeling. So post meal is one of the best time to do this. So try to make some of the decoctions and don't overboil them. Just take about 250 ml of water and boil it till it becomes 200 ml of water. Okay. Completely avoid any cold foods at this point. So whether it is your dahi or which is refrigerated, or it is refrigerated fruits, or it is the cold water, avoid them at this point, because we don't want you to get more prone. So if there is a slight infection, you get more vulnerable to any kind of infections. So you have to keep yourself and guard yourself at this point. So for guarding, you should not drink cold water. You should gargle every day. Even though you have no cold and no cough, gargling twice a day will only keep your throat and your, it'll keep it clear. And steam. So before you sleep in the night, if you can take a slight steam, that will also help to keep your lungs and your nostrils, everything clear. And along with this now, because some of you must be staying alone, your children are out in another city or another country, so you may be getting very fearful at this point. So try and do positive thinking, do positive affirmations, say everything will be fine. This is a small phase, this is a phase which will definitely get over. Try do breathing exercises, that will relax you. Okay, so and try and do video calls, talk to them more often, and try and keep the anxiety away. You all, if you're above 60 and you're listening to me today in this series, you have seen wars earlier. Okay, you've seen the blackouts. This is just a lockdown. Okay, don't get anxious. This phase will pass off. Just give it a couple of days. But at this point, what is more important and most important is you. If you take care of yourself, you're not getting anxious, you're doing your breathing exercises, try to do movements, try to physically stay healthy by eating right, eating well-balanced diet. I'm sure you will pass through this phase also very easily, and you'll be safe and you will be healthy even after this phase. So my tip of the day today is include a probiotic in your diet. Okay, so probiotic we can get in form of curd. Okay, so if you have milk available, try and put curd and have homemade curd. Or you could also do small quantities of homemade pickles or even fermented food. Say when we're talking about idli, dosa, they are fermented. They also can give you a probiotic. So probiotics will keep your gut healthy, and gut is one of the important part to be healthy if you want to build your immune system.